This thing called creativity, what the hell is it? For me, creativity is a synonym for competitive. You know, it started with the reversible thumb. You know, so our earliest ancestors literally were able to create in a way that no other species could. What that allowed them to do was to compete, and to compete like buggery, by the way. You know, we're the most competitive species on this planet. But some people have got more of it than others. You know, and so, for example, you know, Aidan and Laura are going to talk to you later about their wonderful work for John Lewis. And they want to be the first team to have cracked it twice. You know, advertising awards are a really big business. Why? Because it's fantastically important to us that we know we're competing and winning. And when we go to awards dues like D&AD, it's also fantastic. We're competing with it. If we haven't won, it's great to see other people lose. If I was to ask a normal creative person how many hours a week they work, I mean, like these guys here get paid for a 37.5-hour week. That's a 7.5-hour day. When was the last time you did a 7.5-hour day?
Never.
Yeah, exactly. That most creative people are working 50, 60 hours a week. Now, most normal people think that that is very, very strange. And the reason you do it is because you are incredibly competitive. You know, I always used to think that the worst thing that could ever happen to a creative guy, to me, was actually your best mate wins an award. You go, well done, mate, fucking bastard. Should have been mine, you know, God. And we are. But that's what clients are buying from us, the competitiveness, because, you know, every single market is to the death, really to the death. Every job you do in advertising, in design, is a skirmish in a battle, in a war. You know, and because the guys are going to talk to you in a moment about John Lewis, I'll show you. Well, these are all the brands that have died since 2009 in the same competitive area to John Lewis. If you just think about all of the brands who you handle on a daily basis, just take a look at the market, at all of the brands that have died in that market. And that's what you do as creative people. Every day you're going into battle to save these bastards' lives. Because we live in a world of oversupply. I defy you to go and just look at the toothbrush section of your local supermarket. There are too many fucking toothbrushes in this world, you know, which means that at least 4 of those toothbrush manufacturing companies are going to go out of business, and quite soon. Do any of you remember 2001: A Space Odyssey? The opening scene as the spacecraft flies through it, and with the blue Danube, which changed film history. It's branded TWA because Stanley Kubrick thought TWA would be there forever. I bet half of you don't even know who the fuck TWA are. You know. Trans World Airlines, gone. RIP, RIP. You know, if I think about it, in the last year, brands that have gone: Saab, BlackBerry, Nokia's Chapter 11. When clients come to us, what do they want? Sometimes they do want a big business-changing idea, but it's pretty seldom. Sometimes they do want a new strategy, so let's talk to different people and say something different to them. Sometimes they just want a new creative idea. Actually, sometimes they only want the execution of the idea, because for me, the hierarchy of ideas is all about how do you create communications with a point. It's deliberately an iceberg because you never see the strategy or the business idea. You only ever see the bit above water, which is the creative idea. But the other bits below the surface are what are fundamental to the success of the communication. So I talked to them also about this is about generating ideas upwards. So it has a point. You want communications with a point. Baroness Susan Greenfield is the professor of neuropharmacology at Oxford, and she has told a friend of mine on tape that only 1 in 5 people is capable of having an idea. That means 4 out of 5 people can replicate an idea, but they can't have one. So it means if you're a creative person and you're presenting to somebody like that, they literally cannot see what it is you are showing them. They will only buy the work if they trust you, or if, by the way, you explain it in a way that is couched in their language. And that essentially is what I try and do with creative people. Don't talk about creativity. Talk about actually what is the business idea? What is the execution of that? How are you going to help them grow their businesses? You know, because the truth is, if you do something new, interesting, then you're going to grow their businesses. Great creative work is effective work, which is exactly what you guys produced 18 months ago.